Hey everybody, let's get started. Let me get going. Bring up this other chart as our disclaimer. There you go. And we're going to go into gold today. I want to do a major update. Let's bring up the gold chart. And then we'll look at some crypto too. There you go. Give it a minute. Got a couple more people coming in. All right. There you go. Thank you. Nice. All right, let's get to it. Gold has definitely been acting up, probably been key market this week. And a lot of Harmonic Trader members know that we have been in front of this bat pattern, dealing with this bat pattern for a while. I think I talked about this last week, but the big thing that really happened a month ago was the retest. It was back actually in September, where we officially sealed the deal on the Type 2. Looks like this. There was Type 1. There's the first reaction out of the zone. Up to target 1. That's the requirement. That's Type 1 reaction. We got our HSI right here and came back for the full retest. Did a really crazy, I don't know what's going on there, but this retest back on the zone was really fast. What's going on? And since that stabilized, now heading upward, I've been looking for target 2 all along. About 1946 has been our number, our target, roughly 2000. I think 2000 will take till January. But that's shaping up where, with the most recent surge coming out of the zone, I expect this. I expect this maybe to do a little pause up here. But if we take a look at our indicators, we are breaking out. And what we really should see is on gold is this thing to continue now. What you want to see here on the retest is this to do another complex structure and essentially take out the prior high. Take out that prior complex reading, then likelihood of going to all-time new highs is cooked in. At a minimum, going back on a retest to the 886. So gold, after a long time of nothing, here we go again. And the longer term chart is probably the place for targets. If you want to know where this possibly could go, okay, gold just shaping up something again. I talked about, I guess it was about 2 years ago, that we did have this bat structure, alternate bat structure, basically setting up. There's your X to A leg, and then a really shallow B to A to B leg, and then that sets up this kind of extended alternate bat W formation, basically up to the 113 against the prior high. It really, this is shaping up for another retest up there, if not more like a breakout. We break out above this level in the attempt to retest the bat, this monthly bat. We should see this thing really take off. The whole breakout point really starts up against the prior highs. That's about 1930, 1925. So even on a smaller time frame or smaller window. Look at it like this. Come down there, and then at a minimum, we make a run at the 886, shoot that gap. I mean, these are all just real minimum targets to be anticipating. But look, after months of consolidation, and I think it's pretty fairly strong consolidation into that whole area. I mean, it's actually in here. Able to hold that prior low, even with the retest, setting you up again for another harmonic breakout. That's really consistent with what we have been talking about all along. So let me give a shout out to everybody. Thanks everybody for showing up. Again, we're here Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday mornings, 11 a.m. Eastern. That's New York time. So good to see everybody. And again, the other news was that we opened up the Discord community. So we got a bunch of people to come in the last several days and continue to roll that out. All of this is designed to show people the proper way with harmonic patterns and what we do with harmonic pattern collection software. So before I get any further, everyone that is new, and we've had actually a surprising number of new people, which is great. And again, the best place to start, go to harmonictrader.com and just register now for the free basic membership. That gets you into access all of the resources and gives you the instructions on how to get your hands on the software. The software we're working on here today is Harmonic Pattern Collection. So you can go to harmonicpatterncollection.com or just go to Harmonic Trader. And the other platform I'll pull out in a second, this is for TradingView. And let me bring up, let me just pop GLD on there for this. 1 second. And we'll look at both of these. So do, by all means, take advantage of getting a hold of the software. Everything that I do now is off of auto-generated software patterns from the program. Of course, I will still look at manually hand-drawn structural considerations, much like what I just showed on the gold chart. And just that understanding of the M and W framework, critical. And you can learn all about that here on the basic membership. So go to the basic members. Once you register, go to the basic membership page. So that's for the 30 seconds for the new people. And please, all of the materials are in there and it's available for free. And the software trials, again, take those for free first. But everything that we do follows the framework, the manual framework, and then again, the auto-generated patterns, like, okay, we're looking at a daily bearish butterfly on gold right at the moment. Right here around 1868 is the 127 extension. And this just hit the zone yesterday, but it was pretty strong. That is actually terminal bar, as we call it. And we're following it up with another upside move today. Do we have any oversold indicators? As I was saying, they are in the extreme, but they continue to expand. So until that can give us some kind of inflection, it's still up, and this is a potential flawed pattern, if you will. If this continues higher over the next 2 days, 3 days, it'll fail the pattern. So we're quite early in the assessment of this bearish pattern. There's no, I would not be looking at that for any kind of a short opportunity at this moment. If anything, I'm looking at that in context to the larger bullish pattern we've been assessing since way back when, with 1720 right here, the 886. This is a major continuation pattern. I've been saying this for months. And we have seen other markets and the gold miners really start to blast off of some huge patterns. Here's one that was brought up maybe a month or so ago. Eldorado Gold. I think it's EGO. Okay, beautiful Gartley, folks. This was one, I think we looked at it in a gold session as it was happening. And it's a beautiful type 1, beautiful example of type 1 reaction, even though the pattern overshot the PRZ. There's your PRZ right there. But it came all the way down to the hop, which is understandable for this type of pattern coming right off of the top. It's not the most ideal situations, but the harmonic structure is still there and still valid for at least a type 1 move up to target 1. That hit right off the hop at 748. We'll look for that to target 1 at 1110. So be aware of these kind of major situations. I mean, it's a beautiful pattern, and to catch the reaction, yes, we have a bearish pattern. Probably even this takes it up to the hop. But there's a number of these structures that have been playing out quite well. Here's Barrick. Let's look at this. Of course, one of the biggest. I think these guys are the biggest. Barrick had this kind of extended hop level off of the crab. And it's back-to-back patterns. So what do we have now? We have a deep crab in development. You're trading at 20, but the crab shows you up here at 22.30. Also, it's a deep crab, so this could get going. Could have like a strong impulse wave up. But you're seeing it. You're also seeing a lot of these where these prior bearish patterns need to be retested at a minimum. Keep an eye on that. I mean, these have been really nice. Here's AU, Anglo Gold. This one, I think, on the weekly or monthly. Let's check weekly. I know this is there's a big pattern down here. AU, Anglo Gold, one of the bigger miners, international. I think. Hold on, let me check my chart. I think it might have been an ABCD. And I don't have that selected. Yep, here you go. Here's the settings, just really quick, folks, to show you. This is the settings for our e-signal. It's similar for all of them. Sometimes if you don't show the ABCD, that's a really important auto-gen pattern to be looking for, even as a structure. So let's pop that on. And the 5.0 has been deselected as well. So those are two that you still want to scan for. And I will save the default so that next time it's there. Yeah, there's a good example of an ABCD. This one, I'm pretty sure it's either, there's a weekly, something there. Maybe it was Barrick Gold. A couple of the big miners had large patterns on them. Sorry, one second. Let me go back to Barrick Gold, because I know there was some ABCDs popping up. And ever since the peak from 2 years ago, it's been quite slow. But we have been on a steady climb. I think it was this ABCD and Barrick Gold I had mentioned before. We had kind of a crazy retest exactly at that ABCD point. That's a large continuation one. Let's look at the Nugget Miners. I like this one. This is something we've seen on the Harmonic Pattern Collection. And I will say this about the software. The software has been a really fantastic experience for a lot of people. And I just keep it like that. I think a lot of people that are in here today can attest to the effectiveness of the patterns. And so this one, within the way that we look at the auto-generated levels, is we want to look for triggers at the same time. This huge monthly bat pattern. This is Nugget. This is the 2x junior miners. Those are your smaller mining companies within that vehicle, this ETF. Just triggered on the weekly with a check back right here in that area, now starting to pivot up. Why is that critical? Well, this prior zone at 111, even though it's not really serving any purpose 5 years later, it still is a pattern, and it's still going to give us some targets where if gold goes crazy, just think of target one up at 341. Okay, that would be a maximum consideration. Something else in the other way that we look at patterns and use them as targets even would be to be looking for some kind of triggers down in here and then have a retest up to that bat pattern. At least there's some things to go on. Gold gets crazy, things get crazy. Inflation, folks, that number that came out yesterday was absurd, obscene. The fact that they actually even admitted there's 6 point whatever percent inflation here in the United States, that's a serious sign. And we're seeing it in the charts. That's the important part of what anything I want to put out. Like, okay, I put out a nasty tweet because you can't get out there in front of this story and simply lie and say, okay, there's no inflation when the charts and everything that we see reflect not only inflation, but the fastest rate of inflation ever. Therefore, we've seen it in oil. We've seen it in natural gas. Okay, we're going to look for it in gold now. We have seen it in uranium and lithium. And I'll look at a couple of those in a minute. This is major stuff. I think the crude oil situation, I went over that a couple days ago. After we do this pause, and I'll talk more about this on Monday, I'm looking for crude oil to basically take out 100. So all of this inflationary evidence, if you will, is materializing. You've got the junior miners here where if gold's going to get hot again, and we do have an HSI trigger, the other thing is to look at, we have amplified RSI. That's our other indicator, RSI indicator that we use. Starting to break above the 50 level. That's important because right there, that's more significant. We utilize that indicator. That's the proprietary version of the relative strength index. It has been, I developed that 5-6 years ago as a way to be more sensitive, more responsive, to give us be more of a leading indicator, if you will. And we combine that with HSI, and both of these, for the first time in a while, are at least picking up some steam on the indicator that would suggest, okay, at a minimum, we can go back and retest some minor prior resistance levels. I would say more like that. Up here, minimum 79.80, as high as that secondary test at 100. But we just triggered this, and like 2 days ago, I would say, is when this whole thing came into play. So, there are a lot of gold bugs out there, and a lot of gold bugs that have been waiting for a while. Well, you're going to get it. Let me increase that font. I'll look at that PLG. You got it. That is the platinum group that we put. That was the other speculative play, right? Platinum. Here's PLG. I can go to platinum futures as well. This is platinum group. This is another miner. Yeah, remember that, Youssef? It's been a while, right? But it's played out quite nice. go to, well, this on this Gartley, it wasn't the bat, it was the Gartley. Let me remove this because this is type 1 material. This is something we have talked about on Harmonic Trader in our gold member sessions. I think it was back in August where it really started to turn and address these mining stocks. Maybe it was September. And let's just look at that Gartley. There you go. And this is a great one because it has everything you want to see with the structure. You have an ABCD formation right off the top. You have 618 at the B point. That's your identifier. Folks, if you're new to harmonic patterns, I think it's real easy for everyone to be able to pinpoint the M and W formation. But one of the first secrets that you have to know is the B point is your identifier. If your B point's at a 618, your corresponding D point completion's at a 786. If that was at a 50 or less, it would be a bat, which would go to an 886. Yes, they overshoot, but we look at what happens after the pattern completes. Also, you have your minimum A to B, C to D structure, and your B to C extension is usually not going to be more than a 1618. In this case, it's a 127. So that's a true harmonic, as I like to call them. Yes, it's in the middle. It's a common question. Why would that be a valid Gartley? Why would that be a valid pattern? Shouldn't we pull it off of the exact prior low? Yeah, you could, but the alignment, the true harmonic zone, coincides with this ABCD off the top, and you do have a relevant 618. So if you've got those structures, those metrics that maintain that proportion, well, then you do have a Gartley. It's at a higher level. It's one of the things we've learned with the software. I mean, it's been a real kind of a upgrade in terms of where we expect minimum reactions. This one with PLG, we go target 1. That's the definition of a type 1. This is a daily chart, so you got plenty of time on it. The other thing to consider, folks, is that once we go into terminal bar phase, so your terminal bar hits all the numbers in the zone, pattern completes. Then we start thinking reaction, we start looking for signals in this area, and then look for this whole thing to occur within basically 30 bars. It can be more, it can be a little bit less, but that's the general assessment. That's how we know. The other thing is every pattern has to be at least 30 bars. These are minimum kind of time measurements that help filter out other structures that are not valid formations. So, just a quick review. I know a lot of people understand that. Some that are new, I think that helps. For our perspective and for what we're looking for, we want to see the pattern show up, folks. I mean, we can say, oh yeah, gold's going up, or this XYZ is going to wherever, but we have to have the levels, the formations, the confirmation that is our evidence for the plan. And that's where gold is. And I've been saying, again, for months, I've been saying this on gold. Here's platinum. Let's look at platinum futures because they took a hit and then rebounded. All right, but look at this massive, beautiful, but massive ABCD on the weekly. This is the platinum continuous futures. And this is, no doubt not the ideal structural ABCDs, but still a valid ABCD off the top. The interesting thing to note that we are on the verge of a type 2 because there's target 1. We hit by definition, we have to hit the target. It doesn't have to be clean, doesn't have to be perfect, but we hit that. And now we came back and we had a full retest of the ABCD at 949. You're 100 higher. It wasn't much. What was it? 8 weeks ago? Something like that. And this too, platinum futures are exhibiting this 50 midline breakout. That's really important. That's that kind of a thing above your 50 going in the direction of the pattern. Like this. That's where the acceleration, we can anticipate it. We get to the 50. When you go from 30 to 50, folks, in any RSI, amplified or standard, you're usually going to see consolidation. Sideways, maybe some progress. Your acceleration goes from 50 to 70. I like to say that usually what happens is when you go from 30 to 50 and then 50 to 70, well, you go 50 to 70 twice the distance in half the time. So if this is, what's that, 8 bars there, 8 weeks here to move 100, well, then maybe 4 weeks to go 200, something like that. Again, basic minimal structural assessment, but that's what we expect from this stage or this phase of the formation. So let's be aware of that. Again, this is all that's early development phase stuff. I like what I've seen the last couple of days. Yesterday's breakout after the one from a few days ago, pretty demonstrative. I mean, that was like a shot across the bow. Not to mention the news that we got yesterday, the 6.3 inflation target, and then for these guys to come out and say, "Oh, this is just temporary." No, it's not, and we're seeing it in the charts. It's actually, this is where usually you would see sell the news event. Oh, okay, scary inflation number. Okay, we were expecting that. I don't know. Gold's been sleeping. I think a lot of people have been dismissing it, and rightly so. There hasn't been fireworks like we've seen in other markets, but it's waking up, and we don't want to dismiss that. Here's silver. Okay, silver futures, folks. Let's go to that weekly. Oh, sorry, monthly. This is another one. Yeah, monthly, because just to get a little perspective. All right, that was here on the COVID low. Beautiful shakeout low. And I just want to trace this out, not to be, take too much time, but this is more like a framework assessment. So massive down, then we get consolidation and final shakeout. So what happens here is from 2020 COVID low up to that peak. Yeah, you got a 1618 in what's called impulsive move. That's just a harmonic impulse wave. Comes back down for another little retracement, and now it's setting up to do that next wave. And again, the only thing above these levels, this is kind of projecting it out a little further than I like to, but I do think this is going to play catch up. And the 886 retracement on your monthly time frame, that's the target. It's remarkable where gold is versus silver. Silver's got a long way to go. Here's the spread. And yeah, you do have this 50% level at about 30 bucks off of the all-time high. Let me bring up first let's look, what's the 886? Because that's the best place to start. Of what's the maximum probably, what's that, 40 something? 45. Let me make that bigger. There you go. So that is actually, we're in that spot here. The our large upside objective, if we're looking at a pivot C point, which is what I think we are, where we are, the only objective on this is to do a breakout and shoot the 886. This is called a BAM breakout, bad action magnet move. I think we did talk about that a little bit Monday, Tuesday. We pulled out the volume 2 book. Again, looking at this segment. Once we clear these lows and start to make progress out of here, I'm thinking it's going to take the better part of maybe 2 months by the end of the year to get going, but I suspect we get back up to challenge 30 pretty quickly. Really nice action down here in the last 2 months, stabilizing at that area, and bring up, let's go to daily. So on the daily time frame, we've had a bat pattern, bearish bat pattern. This is in a type 2. And you might say, all right, well, what's the deal? I mean, you got a bearish pattern here. Actually, this is what we want to see off of this is a failure. This did a perfect type 1 reaction down to 23. Now, absolutely target the hop at 25.44. We almost got there. We might get a pause, but ideally, this thing should blast through. And to be a failure and to get going off of this thing should blast through. And we're seeing it with HSI and we're seeing it with Amplified. What we really want to see into tomorrow and go into next week is to bust up above these prior readings. There, our bottom indicator, that's Harmonic Strength Index, same deal. So I'm thinking at least, 20, 30 cents higher and continue above there. We'll see if we get a pause by Monday. When we come back, I will update this because I think of all the metals markets, we see some bearish patterns developing, no doubt. We saw that in PLG and some platinum, and gold. These are developing or forming bearish patterns. But here's the thing. Think how aggressively we're racing to these targets. And that matters. I really think that, when you see gold up $100 in the last 10 days or less, then it's, you're entering the zone fairly strong. And that's just a basic assumption that you want to assess when you get into that zone. And silver's doing the same thing. So if we blast on through, don't be surprised. For our type 2 retest, we always want some kind of confirmation. So again, it's early. We have plenty of time if that was going to be a type 2 reaction reversal where we get knocked down again off of that hop level. Let's see what happens. But actually, again, the price action leading up to this retest is notable for sure. Don't want to dismiss that the fact that this thing is acting up at a point where it should be getting ready to reverse. Quick question. How much time do you think it'll take for silver to reach 40? I would think, a 24-month time frame. All of this is playing out. Remember, we just finished basically a 2-year consolidation. There you go. And silver, I do think once we break out, you're going to play catch up really fast. So you're going to get this thing to bust out of this zone, this range. It's not going to take long to get back to that 30. Again, I just think this larger segment from 32 to 45, your 886 is 45.35, is where this will stretch out. But I expect the change, like we saw. I think natural gas is the poster child of unexpected rallies. Natural gas is something harmonic traders know I've been in front of since the beginning of the year, way before the thing even bottomed. And it looked like a dead market for 10 years. Let me show. Here's natural gas. And it's important because a lot of these markets that are going to be things we're going to have to deal with in the coming year are going to be things that a lot of people either have never dealt with or haven't dealt with in a long time. So here's nat gas, but let's get some perspective on, just give it the comparison of gold, silver, these other markets where you enter this cycle, the larger major cycle. Okay, not just an impulsive move like we've seen the last couple of years. That's when you've got a larger, I don't want to say super cycle at hand, but major cycle. So you look at natural gas, it's a lot of ways like gold where you just have short-lived rallies and come back down. Nat gas is a lot like silver in that it's still really low comparison to its prior all-time high. But you can do every kind of trend line drawdown and limit and zone and whatever. You are absolutely, you broke your downtrend and you're trying to pop against these two prior peaks with nothing but air to go back up to the 886. That for me is, from a market perspective, looking at how this could unfold, and how these do actually unfold, is that once they get going, they break out of their C point, they shoot the gaps, and they run hard. That's the thing that we'll want to look for really by the end of the month into early December with all of these. I think gold's just now doing the move that natural gas did about 2 months ago. What are my markets on the EV? Thoughts on the EV market? I think lithium, and as I said earlier in today's presentation, uranium are areas to be. Here's LAC Lithium Americas. It's obviously up 10x, huge amount. I'm not saying jump in, but it's one I've featured before. Let's go to the 4-hour chart. We had something on this one on the at the $20 level. Let me bring this up. Looks like this. I think maybe it was a 60. I think there was a shark. What was it? Hold on. Yeah, it was, sorry folks. I know we had a pattern down there. Yeah, it was the ABCD. We had an autogen ABCD in Lithium Americas, that I had outlined last month to members. Now, I'm not saying jump in here. What I'm more saying is we're going to get a pullback. So just be patient with this. I do feel like this is kind of what will happen with a lot of these different markets that have been in long-term sideways dead markets, and then they wake up and explode in a crisis. I mean, this is, let's be real. This is a crisis, folks. It is a crisis. You're seeing it in the charts. So I would keep your eye on things like that. How to assess that. Like, where's the opportunity? There's no opportunity there. But one thing to consider is if we get like a 382 pullback, even off this most recent leg, back to 30, back to 28, something like that. I want to see a pattern that materializes at a minimum on an hourly or 4-hour time frame. There's a 4-hour. Okay, there's nothing there. Just don't misinterpret what I'm saying. I would be watching it and waiting for the next pullback. Okay, I got nothing there. but it has been running. It will continue to run because there aren't many names in this space. Here's a uranium play, UEC. It's another one that like another 10xer. So take a look at that. This case we did have a bunch of crazy patterns. Look at that. Bullish patterns right at the low. How do you capture something like this going forward? Again, go bring it down on say hourly or 4-hour chart. These are running. They can keep running if they want. Again, up here, I'm probably looking for a pullback up here. It looks a little toppy at 550. I'm gonna bring up maybe 30-minute. Yeah, 30-minute time frame. Not bad either. Like an ABCD within this uptrend. Maybe we get another auto-generated ABCD off the top. Something like that. That's what I would be waiting for. Again, when a lot of these have mooned, we see it in crypto all the time. You have to absolutely just get it on the radar, be patient, and look for some kind of retracement within the uptrend on that time frame, and still treat the pattern as a reaction, no doubt. But what you will usually see is if the trend's super strong, the pattern will be the continuation signal. It'll be all you need. And so by the time you get up to say target 1 or target 2, it'll blow through and give you kind of the clue of that, hey, there's more here. So those are two other markets. I think there's some other vehicles, some ETFs we could look at. But in terms of EV and this is mandated stuff, folks. So the trillions of resources trillions of dollars of worthless whatever that can actually influence and basically whether it's effective or not will artificially drive this. Someone's saying LCD, Lucid, LCID, Lucid Group. Okay, yeah. That's a weekly. Let's go to, again, that's a great for hourly or 30-minute, I would think even. Well, there was a couple. There was a big ABCD continuation. Now you're more than doubled since September. How do you play it? This might be good for a 5-minute. These kind of stocks, folks, your crazy meme stocks and things like that, once they get going, again, get them on your radar. But look for the patterns on the pullback, like 5-minute. And as I said before, what you want to see, the way to capture these continuation moves is to trade it and then get the blowout. If the reaction just blows through coming out of the zone, then you know you've got something with a larger potential. A lot of times people will ask me, well, I just don't, I want to FOMO in on something that's gone, like especially with crypto, thinking, all right, it's just going to go anyway. I think you're always going to get an opportunity on some kind of pattern, some kind of ABCD. I really feel like it has to do it structurally to trigger the next wave. You have a surge, just like this most recent one at 41. These are a couple of the stocks I will be featuring even more. Here's Tesla, folks. Talk about EVs. I will bring up another car company in a second here that looks like it wants to be an EV giant. Tesla, despite all the news and everything, I think that's going to give you an opportunity. You do have a fat gap down at 900 on Tesla. Let's go to the weekly chart, though. What did Tesla just do? 1618 divergence, folks. And what can we expect from here? All right, it looks like this. Another beautiful, let's do it this way, 1618. And it's actually good that Tesla did its correction now. off of that move. And you want to look for this. I'll show where this is a type 1. It's not, it is a crab pattern. So I'll trace it out. The software is not generating it. I know why, because it's not, it really doesn't have the ideal structural proportions we want to see. But it looks like this. For example, this C point, that's too deep. In my book, that C point needs to be a little higher. It matters. I think it's almost a double bottom down there, pretty close. But that set up your 1618 extension. That creates the crab pattern. Also notice your B point is at a 618. So that's how to trigger, knowing that's a regular crab. It hits the terminal bar, hits the 1618 on this day, and then gets rejected. So what do we see? Likely a 382, 618 pullback, and then you go for another leg higher. I like that formation, and I'm not too concerned. You know, I think it's puts you in a good spot. Look at our amplified RSI. Still in the overbought. Folks, if this turns back up soon and stays in the overbought, that's going to be a really strong recovery. Just because Elon finally sold some shares doesn't mean anything. Does not mean a thing. I would look for something like this, come back up, and then do another complex formation. Don't expect it more than that. That puts us down at, oh, I don't know, like I said, around 9:30, 9:10 at the most. And then what is like the 2-hour chart or 4-hour chart? Nothing yet. Anything development on the hourly? No, not really. Just a nice extreme impulse move. I like that. Actually, a hard down move down to the 1618. Come back up and then back down. You know, this stuff has been zigzagging. I know it's a lot of people are talking moon and straight up, straight down. It's really been a lot of stair step. So here's the other one I wanted to highlight let's go to the Harmonic Pattern Collection for TradingView and look at Ford, folks. And I'll bring it up on the monthly. Ford has been surging. Something we had talked about this one. This is one of those other ones. It was about a year ago with AMC, and towards the end of last year we had a number of these. Look, gold on the Ford on a monthly chart. Let me say, maybe it's a weekly chart. Massive patterns down here on Ford. There you go. Huge bat pattern. I know there's a lot going on there. Let me show eSignal platform. I think that has it better. This thing has surged up to 20. Coming off there a little bit, but again, another one to just get it on the radar. There you go. Oh yeah, it was, look, massive bat pattern on Ford. That's even better. That's why look, we have Harmonic Pattern Collection for 6 or 7 platforms now. And that, you know, I think the eSignal has got all the bells and whistles plus the data. And we're seeing probably I think some of the best long-term pattern matches on this platform. We did have it on TradingView as well, but that shows it. So we could target on this move, because by definition it is a type 2, go up to 25. Target 2 is at 25.43. Okay, up, basically up in that range. I don't know what's going on there. And ever since the retest back in around $8 on the COVID low, been month over month steady climb. So want to get that on your radar for another 25% up to target 2. If these are minimums, and the thing to consider is it can go higher. It could go retest the all-time high, but within the framework of harmonic patterns, we want to assess that minimum, that target too, but it's clearly in a type 2 reversal. There, here on the daily, again, we've run up quite a bit. I would look for a pullback here. But longer term trend is not over. Okay, that's actually a heck of a move. 13 to 20 for Ford. Hasn't seen a move like that in a long time. One or two more, folks. I'm going to wrap it up. We'll be back on Monday at 11 a.m. Hey, what's up, Frankie? Frankie, the legend. Yeah, we looked at gold. We started with gold today, my friend. So do the review. We're liking it, and we'll continue to like it. Again, we're just getting started with our sessions here. So, guys, we're here every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, New York time, 11 a.m. Let me bring up one more. Let's look at General Motors, GM. Look, if this whole thing is mandated, and I'm not going to harp about stupid politics. Stupid. We need to look at the charts. What do we have? What's going on? What are these coming off of? Here's GM, COVID low, massive deep crab, and just continuing higher ever since. We have a really nice continuation on the weekly. Right there. HSI. So let's even go to the monthly. Or GM, you could go quarterly and go back forever. Well, of course, they had a couple bailouts, so let's not forget that one. But just another GM like the other ones in a minimum 1618 extension. Impulsive wave off the low. It looks like this. Bring that up. Yeah. These, again, have not seen a heck of a lot of action in recent years. Your 1618 on GM, it's at 66 bucks. Looks like that. Yeah. And I would expect that to even overshoot a little bit on the monthly. More target these, and I think we're going to see this end of the year, where these do a minimum test of these levels, if not more like a 2.0. So 75 or 80 bucks on GM for where it is. This is coming in real hot on the retest of the prior highs. They tried to dunk it after the first 6 months of this year. No. So a lot of this is shaping up. Again, I'm going to dig into some maybe some spec mining plays next week. Let's look at some things with like Canadian gold miners. Let's look at some more platinum plays, because these are the things that can heat up. We get a crazy move. We get crazy unexpected, more crazy unexpectedness. This is where uranium, lithium, other precious metal mining stocks can do multiples. That's the thought about what we're looking for. Last one. Let's say Bitcoin for Monday. I'm not worried about Bitcoin. We are still in major crab development. Ethereum too. I think I mentioned last week, maybe it was even Monday. If you see the crypto market down 5-10%, the whole market down in one day, it's probably a buy. You probably just a slam and go. Here's your Bitcoin weekly chart. Remember that one? Remember that bat pattern back in the day? Our larger 1618, folks, for Bitcoin remains 89,000. The integrity of the structure just remains until we get there. I'm not going to look for or try to second guess. We've been on this really in a nice manner since we got the buy signal back in July, and we have W formation for Bitcoin again. 89,000 total crypto market cap to 3.5 trillion. Ethereum, these are all doing 1618 2.0 extensions. That does not change because of a single day. So appreciate it. Let's save the other ones for Monday, folks. I don't know. I'm not going to get into that last one, but we'll come on back on Monday at 11 a.m. I think I've made the progress I needed to make on getting set up and directing people to the right location. So let me again highlight, go to harmonictrader.com, folks, and please get with the basic membership, especially for the new people and those that know friends, or help your friends get onto the right information. If your other friends are new, go to harmonictrader.com and become a basic member. And just follow along with us in our sessions. Look at the stuff look at any one of my videos from the past, I don't know, from 3 months ago, 2 or 3 months ago. See what I was saying. See what I was saying 6 months ago. And then update it with what we've been saying now. You're going to see a real steady progression of how these patterns have unfolded in ideal fashion over and over again. Especially gold. Today was really about gold and how to capitalize on what this is, which is a larger type 2 reversal in development. So we'll stay on top of that as well. I do think it's, finally, that has been the big wake up call we've been looking for. So appreciate it, everybody. Great session again today. We'll be back on Monday at 11 a.m. Thanks for showing up. We'll see you.